Come on in the room. Come on in the room. And we have more free agency news from the Milwaukee Bucks. It's the Guru Trey Crosby III.
Chris King.
Let's do it right here. The Cream City crossover. Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks, and free agent guard Gary Trent Jr. have agreed to a one-year deal as of Tuesday. Rich Paul and Lucas Newton of Clutch Sports told ESPN's agent Wojnarowski. Trent, 25 years old. Look at that, the age there. I'm loving it. Joins the Bucks after spending the past 3.5 years in Toronto, averaging 13.7 points on 43% shooting in 71 games last season. He shot just a touch under 40% from three. Last year, his best mark since the 2019-2020 season. This addition to Gary Trent Jr. marks the biggest offseason move for the Milwaukee Bucks this summer, as they have largely kept the roster intact heading into next year. Trent should make up for the loss of Malik Beasley, who signed a one-year deal with the Pistons, and will help boost Milwaukee's outside shooting. Gary Trent Jr. shot 41% on catch and shoot three-pointers over the past two seasons, according to Second Spectrum, making him an ideal fit on the floor with one, Damian Lillard, and two, Giannis Antetokounmpo, commanding the ball in their hands. Trent will be reunited with Lillard, who was his teammate for over two seasons in Portland. It's been noted that both Doc Rivers and Damian Lillard both recruited Gary Trent Jr. to come to the Milwaukee Bucks. He answers the call, comes to the Bucks on a one-year vetman deal. He actually bypassed a couple mid-level exception deals that he had on the table to come to Milwaukee. It's going to be the same thing as Malik Beasley, a one-year prove-it deal, and he's going to try to enter free agency, of course, next year in the offseason. The Bucks won't be able to do anything about that. So this is basically a one-year rental to win a championship with Gary Trent Jr. It's a huge move. It's a huge deal for the Milwaukee Bucks that he's coming here. Again, I'm reading there, Gary Trent Jr. 100% makes up for the loss of Malik Beasley. Like he slides right into that two-spot position, plays defense a little better than Malik Beasley, at least can get some steals and whatnot. I think he's going to play a lot harder as well. He shoots the ball well. He's got it. I think his inside the arc game's got to get a little better. We'll see kind of how it is. But again, you're going to get a lot of open shots playing with the Milwaukee Bucks, playing with Damian Lillard, playing with Giannis. It's, again, I believe it's an ideal fit. He's a guy who, and if you know Danny Levin, you hear about Danny Levin on this program before. I went to Vegas. Let me tell you a story, Chris. I went to Vegas Summer League back. Gary Trent was I believe it was his rookie year. I was in Summer League in Las Vegas. I'm in the Thomas and Mack, I think the second auxiliary gym, and I'm with Danny Levin, and I'm watching Gary Trent Jr., and I look at Danny, and I go, hey, this kid can play. I like this kid. He can play. Gary Trent Jr. went to the league. He's become a legitimate role player, legitimate basketball player, starting level player in the NBA. I love it for the Milwaukee Bucks. We talked about it here at the Cream City Crossover, how he'll be a great addition to this basketball team. You want to go get a guy like that. And I will give a lot of credit to John Horst. John Horst making this happen. Limited resources, limited funds this offseason. What do you do with it? You go get DeLon Wright, you go get Taurean Prince, and you go get Gary Trent Jr. So again, not much money to work with, but the Bucks make it work, and you end up getting a great addition, a great piece to your basketball team who can come in and start for you that two spot.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that, especially because I'm just going through the roster, comparing last year's roster to now what we potentially have coming in, or we do have coming in as a group. And I just look at it, I'm like, that's way better. Like, we just got way better with no money, like pretty much no money. And so I'm excited to see Gary Trent reunite with Damian Lillard. Like, let's see how that backcourt plays together. I'm gonna definitely have to go watch some highlights of how they kind of ran off each other, played off of each other. But it's awesome to see that we're now at the appeal to where guys like that can come to Milwaukee and come play and try to win a championship with Giannis. Not that people haven't been doing that before, but like a name like Gary Trent Jr. is significant. So I love that. Just the way that he plays so hard. Like I love how much effort he's always given. He can shoot the ball, shoot on the move. Like, it's not just catch and shoot. I like how he can shot create. So that's going to be another interesting thing. Now you've got really three shot creators in that starting five with Chris, Dame, and Gary Trent. So I love it. And then also off the bench, now you look at Taurean Prince and DeLon Wright, who can pretty much, guard 1 through 4, I would say, or one through 3 for each of those guys. So like this is really just getting better as a team, and I love that. This might be the best starting 5 Giannis has ever had. So hopefully, they come in, they're ready to work and come win a championship. I love that.
Let me ask you this, and again, I agree with a lot of those points. Again, Gary Trent Jr. comes in, and really, Giannis included in that as a shot creator. So you have really 4
Yeah,
guys that
yeah,
can make things happen on the floor. Whereas Malik Beasley, I think was, and again, you saw the numbers from Gary Trent Jr. Great spot
yeah.
up shooter, but yeah, I think he can make a little bit more happen for you, a little bit more of a threat offensively and defensively. He can defend as well. You still see in that lineup, Brook Lopez, and then in
Mm.
that when you're looking at backups coming in, you still have Bobby Portis slotted in that spot to come in as your backup 4 or maybe 5 if you want to play Taurean Prince at you play some small ball 4 and some second lineups, whatever you want to do. I think a lot of the roster's open to you for the Milwaukee Bucks. Do you still see when you look at that starting 5, that projected lineup of, and I think they had it somewhere on ESPN. The way I would do it is Dame, Gary Trent, Chris, Giannis, Brook. Do you look at Brook Lopez and still think, I could do something different at the 5 and try to? Do you still think the Bucks have a move to make trade wise, or do you think they're just going to let this thing roll? The Bucks are going to be in the second apron. Do they let this thing roll with the roster kind of as is? Because I mean, if you look at it, I believe they have all 15 spots filled. Like I believe all roster
Yeah.
spots are now gone. So that means number one, Thanasis is no longer on this roster, which is interesting. But
He's hurt.
do you think that's it? I'm just saying he's not on the roster anymore. Do you think that's it? Or will John Horst make some more additions and try to change and improve this team before opening night?
See, this is tough for me because I think last year you were asking a lot out of Brook and Bobby, just to consistently play a lot of minutes. But now I think just with the amount of additions you've gotten, that the amount of defenders you've gotten as well, you can actually cut down Brook and Bobby's minutes a little bit and see if you want to go smaller. They talked about wanting to change the defensive identity. Maybe we just roll Giannis out there a lot more than it would have been like last year when we had Brook and Bobby kind of just continuously playing, whether it was both of them at the same time or one or the other. So, yeah, I think this is a situation where they've got to be feeling very confident about their upgrades with Jay Crowder and, everybody leaving, Malik Beasley, all those guys. But I just don't know when would be a better time to do a move, right? Like Brook Lopez, how much more appeal is he going to have to other teams? They've already talked about, some teams are targeting him, are monitoring what the Bucks are doing with Brook Lopez. So it's really all about the value that they can get back. If they're able to get younger, great. If not, maybe they wait for a couple years down the road and see if there's a good big draft class. I don't know. So that is a tough question. I'm not even sure I have the answer for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they move them, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they just sit on their cash.
Well, you mentioned the Bucks go 3 for 3 in their upgrades in the offseason, where you go Gary Trent Jr., Malik Beasley to Gary Trent Jr., you go Jay Crowder to Taurean Prince, you go Pat Bev to DeLon Wright. Like I think it was a sweep across the board, those 3. Lastly, I want to ask you, Doc Rivers on the broadcast earlier tonight as the Bucks Summer League play. He played as the Bucks Summer League team played. The Los Angeles Clippers got into make some discussions. He was on the broadcast and he talked about Chris Middleton again because we're talking about what the Bucks have to do with the rest of that roster. And I look at again, is there room to move even if you're not saying Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez? And again, I think you'd have to move somebody else with that. You talk about Pat Connaughton, who where does he fit in, and where does Marjon Beauchamp fit in? So I'm really looking at those 4 guys as can you do something with 1, 2, or 3 or all 4? How do you? Those are the 4 I'm looking at movable pieces. But the other question mark there is Chris Middleton, and Doc Rivers on the broadcast during the Summer League game lets it be known. I don't know if he let it slip. I don't know if this is an accident, but he lets it be known that Chris Middleton had another knee procedure already in this offseason. He should be ready again by training camp. Now, what does that mean? We saw what that meant last year. Oh, he'll be ready by this time, and he's not really ready. And then he's not playing any, the first a couple preseason games or whatever. No, he'll be back to normal by this game. And he's not. And then you have a ramp up. He's playing 10, 15 minutes to start for the first 30 games of the year. Like, is that a problem for you with Chris Middleton as he continues to go down this road? Do you look at, again, a guy people are trying to move? Brandon Ingram is a guy that the Pelicans want to move as they have made some additions to their basketball team, and they're trying to figure these out. Do you think about that, or are you standing pat? Are you good with Chris Middleton moving forward this basketball team?
Well, the thing is, and I think it might have been actually your Twitter I got this from, but I didn't really think of this until I saw a point that was made on Twitter today that Chris Middleton keeps missing regular season games. The wear and tear is just going to continue on Giannis. And although I loved what Chris did versus the Pacers, although I loved what Chris has done in playoffs before that, like at some point we need to get younger, and they're actively trying to do that, so I like that. But we need to get healthier. We can't just continue to have these injuries that just linger throughout seasons and then all the way into the playoffs and leak in. And, it's like this is just big injury bug that the Milwaukee Bucks just seem to have all the time. So, I don't like it at all, if that's the question. And Brandon Ingram, I like Brandon Ingram a lot, but I just don't know if – Chris Middleton at this point, would be able to suffice for the Pelicans, especially because they got CJ and those guys, and they just got DeJounte. Like, I don't know how he fits into their system, so it would be tough.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, but I it's funny at this stage in their careers. Like, I think Chris Middleton still has a better clutch gene. Like, outside of Brandon Ingram being younger,
Yeah.
I don't know that, and is he younger? Is he probably have better health history? I mean, I don't actually know. I'll have to look at Brandon Ingram's health history, see who's played more games. But he does have obviously more athleticism. But like, if I don't know, pound for pound, Chris Middleton probably is a guy I could depend on if he's healthy. If both are healthy, I could probably depend on Chris Middleton a little bit more than I could Brandon Ingram. So again, interesting discussion all the way around. But at the end of the day, this Gary Trent Jr. to the Milwaukee Bucks is 100% a win. And again, it's a great free agency class for the Milwaukee Bucks on a limited budget. You have to love it, and you only get this kind of analysis right here at the Cream City Crossovers. The Guru Trey Crosby III,
Chris King.
Hey, stay with us. Subscribe. We'll be back having all the news for you right here at the Cream City Crossover. We'll see you next time.